Metaphor ReFantazio is an amazing game, but it's too easy for my taste. So to make it harder, I have modded my game to completely disable normal experience gained. Now I'm stuck at level 1, but this doesn't only apply to me because every single one of my party members is also stuck at level 1 with very bad stats. Archetype experience hasn't been changed at all, so to survive, we have no other choice than to solely rely on the power of our classes called archetypes. This is the story of my grand fantasy, beating Metaphor ReFantazio at level 1. You know, one thing that I like about my crew is that each of us has their own dream. Nuras wants to create a gauntlet runner that can fly, Stroll wants to rebuild his village, Hulkenberg wants to save the prince, and Heisme's child tragically passed away during a riot. The urn he carries with him contains the bones of his late son. Ever since that day, Heisme has been on a difficult quest. His dearest wish is to find a suitable place to lay the bones of his son to rest. In other news, we've got some time to kill before we get to the next city, so I decided to focus on cleaning to raise my max HP.
It's you! So we meet again! Maybe you got the better of me last time, but you're about to get some
Commendable.
And just like that, Katharina's rank 3 has been reached, so now the party can study a new adept archetype, the pugilist. And then on the following day, we finally arrived at our destination, the City of Water, Brilhaven.
In that case, we should look for an inn about the city. And we must sample the local delights. They've far better seafood than in the capital.
Hope it's nothing too weird.
You've nothing to fear. Truly, I find most living things are edible.
You need higher standards, lady.
I tried to look for a place we could stay at, but all the inns were full. All the inns except the spider's den. I'm getting some bad vibes from this place, but surely it can't be that bad. Oh god. You know what? Let's go to the tavern. Brilhaven is known for having some of the best seafood in the entire kingdom of Ukrainia, so I can't wait to see what kind of delicious meal.
Is that really edible? It doesn't look quite, natural.
Why, 'tis delicious! The aroma of the sea simply floods the mouth. And what splendid crunch it has.
I guess I'll try a bite. I mean, they wouldn't let us fish up anything outright inedible. I hope.
At least we'll die together.
Ugh.
You need way higher standards, lady.
Alright, we are done with the shenanigans, so it's time to focus on our main objective.
Someone fill me in. I've been literally living in a hole.
We need to find a way to get in the good graces of Count... It's Louis Guyaburn! That was Louis Guyaburn! God, why does he keep jump-scaring me like that?
Master Louis was just here. What happened?
Well, he just left. You weren't told?
Eat shit, Glodel. We've confirmed that Count Louis Guyaburn is in the possession of a special artifact. A map that supposedly has the exact coordinate leading towards the One Piece. On August 12, he, and by he I mean Count Louis Guyaburn, will organize a soiree with all his supporters here at Brilhaven. This means that we have 20 days to secure an infiltration route leading to Louis Guyaburn's private quarters. The first thing I did was accept all the side quests I could find, and then I went to the arena front wharf to talk to the mysterious old man. In case you are curious, this is the very same old man that we met inside the sandworm. Apparently, he managed to get out the same way we did. Please do not ask me about the details. I would rather not remember the heinous incident. The reason why I'm bringing him up is because you can exchange gold beetles for juicy rewards by talking to this old man. Because I've been taking this bug-catching contest very seriously, I was able to collect 12 gold beetles, the exact number you need to obtain the Venom Ward charm. This is an accessory that protects you from all the physical status ailments, and being able to get it this early is fantastic. Also, in the arena front wharf, there is a cool facility that I should be telling you about, but... no, I don't want to talk about it right now. We will do that later. After getting my reward, I went back to the Gauntlet Runner to prepare for my Dungeon Ward tour. There are 3 areas that I want to take care of: Gracia Forest, the Forsaken Tower, and the Abandoned Tomb. The order in which you explore these areas is completely up to you, so in my case, I decided to start with the forest. Right. From time to time, while moving with your Gauntlet Runner, you will get attacked by a bunch of monsters. Typically, in these gauntlet fights, you have to clear 2 waves of enemies, and what's really cool about those fights is that one of the waves is guaranteed to have an Elementar.
There they go!
I made sure to save right before this encounter, so I reloaded the previous save file, and then I made Hulkenberg study the Faker archetype. I did this not because I wanted to actually use the Faker, but because studying this archetype allows you to inherit one of the strongest, most degenerate skills in the entire game: Faker's Roguery, or as I like to call it,
let's go gambling!
Faker's Gamblery is a move that removes or adds turn icons at random. This is what the description states, and while this explanation is indeed correct, it doesn't begin to describe how good this move truly is. So whenever you use Faker's Gamblery, you will get 1 out of 5 outcomes. You can lose all your turn icons, make all your turn icons blink, gain 2 turn icons, gain 3 turn icons, and if you are really lucky, you can gain 4 turn icons. The way it works is that the game has a hidden counter that keeps track of how many times you are using Faker's Gamblery during a turn. So the more you use it, the more likely it is that you will get a bad result. Additionally, the game always resets that hidden counter at the start of the player's turn. Now, the thing about this move is that the odds of getting a bad outcome are actually not as punishing as you might think. Faker's Gamblery only starts becoming a liability the 3rd time you use it and onwards, so using that move is fairly safe if you only go for it once or twice per turn. After these moveset tweaks, I retried the fight, cleared the first wave, then after shaking her abacus, Hulkenberg gave the squad 3 extra turn icons, and thanks to the Gamblery, we got enough press turn to defeat the Elementar before it got a chance to run away. I also made sure to use Dead Collection twice during that battle to squeeze as much Magla as I could from that one fight. Now we can start exploring the So the boss of this dungeon is the Cockasados, and wow, this stupid bird hits a lot harder than I thought. After noticing how much it likes going for wind attacks, I swapped to a full Seeker party to resist that element. This allowed us to last for more than 5 seconds, which was great, but then we got to see the main gimmick of this boss. Every 3rd turn, the Cockasados will use Peck of Death on whoever doesn't have a defense buff active. This attack is a guaranteed instant kill, and sadly, none of us can wait. The end of the Cockasados' tail is the head of a snake. I never noticed that before. What the...
Everyone, forgive me.
As annoying as Peck of Death can be, dealing with this move is actually not that bad when you have Trader's Summit. Normally, a Revival Medicine revives one ally at 50% health, but when you have a squad of 4 traders, every Revival Medicine you use is going to revive an ally at 100% health. This essentially turns the Revival Medicine into a Balm of Life, so you don't have to worry about healing someone after they have been revived. Pulse Troll got pecked to death near the end, but by that point, we had dealt enough damage to secure the victory. After slaying the bird, I raised my wisdom to rank 3, and then I started my journey towards the Forsaken Tower. Oh, that reminds me. Today is Idol's Day. Do you know what that means? I feel much better. Oh, right, I forgot about the gauntlet fight against candidate Lina. I don't recall this battle being particularly challenging, so it should be a piece.
Here's a little
Like this.
Here's a taste of one.
Okay, I take it back. The main issue here is that it's really difficult to deal with Lina's insane coverage. Compared to other Atlus titles, in Metaphor ReFantazio, it's a lot harder to tweak your resistances. Archetypes do not come with crazy good resistances, and 99.9% of them can't even learn stuff like the typical resist passive skills. Your primary way to improve your resistances comes from pieces of gear, and since those are few and far between, covering your weaknesses is a lot harder, so you have to find more creative ways to deal with what the enemy can do to you. By the way, Lina can also buff her attack, so you actively need to debuff her to keep her damage in check. And if everything I just said wasn't bad enough, she can also use Mage Transcendence to deal a ridiculous amount of damage with her spells. Simply put, no archetype has the right set of resistances to handle Lina's moveset. So to find an answer, I looked at the skills that each archetype could learn, and that's when I found the perfect counter. So the Knight has access to a synthesis skill called Magic Guard. This skill raises a barrier that nullifies one elemental attack for all allies in the same row as the caster. So by putting everyone in the back row, I can invalidate two of her most dangerous moves, while also reducing the damage of her Slam Strike. Magic Guard requires both the Knight and the Seeker archetype, so for this fight, I went with one Knight and 3 Seekers. Thanks to Magic Guard, Stroll was able to protect the entire squad from Lina's magic spells, and that gave us the openings we needed to throw as many ice chunks as we could. The strategy worked just as well as I had hoped, and then, fittingly, Heisme was the one who landed the final blow. Ooh, we managed to survive. Oh, come on, dude! Yeah, Katharina is back for round 3. Her training with Son Goku really paid off because she's a lot harder to deal with this time. Not only is she hitting way harder, she can also recover 600 HP every time she goes for Undisturbed Serenity. And when you consider how often she loves spamming that move, it can be pretty challenging to outdamage her healing. After getting clapped, I pulled out the Brawler squad, and thanks to our resistance to strike, we were finally able to survive. Just so you understand, Katharina is at -3 attack, Hulkenberg is guarding in the back row, and despite all that, Hulky still got one shot. Ridiculous. As annoying as this fight can be, I have to thank Katharina because it's thanks to her that I learned something valuable about the guard mechanic in this game. Unlike games like Shin Megami Tensei 5 where it's possible to dodge while guarding, in Metaphor, guarding completely disables your ability to dodge. This creates an interesting scenario where you have to choose between the guaranteed damage reduction or the chance of avoiding damage altogether. Thanks to the strike-dodge passive of the Brawler, evading some attacks is actually fairly doable. So for this fight, I decided to go for a mix of guarding and dodging. Eventually, she KO'd Hulkenberg, so naturally, I decided to bring my comrade back, only for Katharina to one-shot Hulkenberg again. At that point, I got really tired of her shenanigans, so I just kept attacking with reckless abandon. The heal spam was really annoying to deal with, but luckily, Strike Dodge activated at the perfect moment. That dodge robbed Katharina of her 2 press turns, thus preventing her from going for her healing move. From there, all it took was 5 more items to defeat the bounty hunter. I've managed to win the final Katharina fight, and thanks to that, I was able to reach rank 4 with her. It will take a while before we see Katharina again, so I wished her the best with her own endeavors, and then I made my way to the Forsaken Tower.
What? It was a demon?
Orgas the Giant is the boss of this area, and this guy definitely packs a punch. First of all, this boss is level 38. Not only can he debuff your defense and buff all his stats, he can also use charge to deal an obscene amount of damage. Just like Katharina, Orgas is a strike spammer, so going in with a full Brawler squad is the right play. Combining my attack debuffs with the guard mechanic significantly reduces the damage dealt by the giant, But what truly makes a difference here is the fact that this boss has a weakness. Orgas is weak to dark, and because he has a weakness, I am able to optimize my guard tech even further. First, 2 of my characters hit Orgas's weakness with dark items. This allows me to generate 2 blinking turn icons. Then, with my other 2 characters, I purposefully avoid hitting the weakness by doing stuff like healing, debuffing, or attacking with an element that the boss is neutral to. Doing that allows me to get rid of the 2 blinking turn icons I generated, and since I didn't hit a weakness, I still have 2 full press turn icons left. And because everyone is wearing the Praetorian Cloth accessory, I can use these 2 full turn icons to make my entire squad guard. So by playing this way, I can maximize the amount of actions I take during a turn, while ensuring that I will always have enough turn icons to go for the guard tech. This fight is also great at showcasing why items are so good in this game. Since items deal fixed damage, they completely disregard variables like buffs and debuffs. And when you add Trader's Summit into the mix, they become even better. Thanks to all these mechanics, I was able to keep the fight under control, and after 7 minutes of combat, Orgas was no more. We got what we were looking for, so I could leave the tower right away, but before doing that, I stunned the Green Elemental, and I clicked Death Collection with all 4 of my merchants before going for the flawless victory. I could have easily not mentioned any of this to you, but I decided to keep this part in the script to show you how much of a struggle it is to get Magla in this run. Even when I can only get 200 mag per Death Collection, I still need to use that move every single time one of these little balls shows up to squeeze as much Magla as possible.
Magla, give me your Magla! I need more Magla!
After turning in various quests to get a lot of cash, I bought a ton of items as well as new pieces of gear for my squad, and then I returned to Grand Trad to explore the catacombs of the Mausoleum. The main reason why I came here wasn't so much because of the boss fight of this area, I mean the Catableach and his gankers went down fairly easily, but it was more so because of the red gelatinos that you can find here. You can pickpocket lava crystals from these guys, so I equipped the thief to commit some crimes. I also made sure to defeat the green gelatinos to stock up on corrosive acids. One thing that makes farming pretty convenient is that I can just go in and out of a Magla Hollow to make those guys respawn. Oh, and speaking of Magla Hollows, there is something really cool that I wanna show you. Heisme hangs upside down inside Magla Hollows. It's a minor thing, but I find that pretty cute. Once I had my fill, I left the mausoleum and I spent the next couple of days raising the bonds of my followers. The main one I focused on was Bardon, and I did that for 2 reasons. The first one is that reaching rank 3 with him unlocks a new adept archetype, the General. Oh, and during his rank 3 convo, Bardon said something very interesting. Now that I'm governor, it falls to me to take care of anyone who is disturbing that peace. The second reason is that reaching rank 4 with Bardon unlocks one of the best abilities in the entire game, Protective Formation. This ability decreases the amount of damage you take when everyone is in the back row, and what's cool about it is that Protective Formation stacks with the back row defense boost. Normally, being in the back row grants you a 20% damage reduction, but when Protective Formation is active, that damage reduction goes from 20% to 60%. This ability is amazing, and it's gonna make surviving attacks a lot more manageable now. Thank you, Bardon. I went to the Merchant Bazaar in Bridhaven to talk to a special NPC. This is the Nidia shopkeeper, and what's interesting about this merchant is that his wares change daily. For example, if you talk to him on Water's Day, you can purchase the Archetypal Ring, an accessory that increases the amount of AEXP gained. This is cool and all, but in my case, I talked to the shopkeeper on Flames Day specifically because that's when he sells an item called the Stormy Sea Ring. This accessory guarantees that physical attacks will always deal critical hits in stormy weather. And if you are wondering what the game means by stormy weather, don't worry. You will see this ring in action fairly soon. After grabbing the ring, Stroll and I decided to train with Hulkenberg to kill some time. What?
Are you serious?
What the? Is she trying to kill him? I have no idea what the point of this training session was, but at least it allowed me to reach rank 3 with Hulkenberg, and that unlocked a new adept archetype for us to study, the Magic Knight. Shortly after whatever that was, we got to the abandoned tomb, and it's there that I decided to do a couple of things. After maxing out the warrior on Stroll, I made him study the Sword Master, and then I used my remaining hero leaves to power level that archetype all the way to rank 20. Currently, this is the only adept archetype that I've bothered studying, and if you are wondering why I haven't been studying more archetypes, the answer is fairly simple. Magla. In a level 1 run like this one, mastering archetypes is really important because it's my primary way to increase my stats. Ideally, I would love to master as many archetypes as possible, but doing that is really difficult when archetypes are so expensive. Unlocking the basic archetypes isn't too bad, but once you get to the adept forms, you really start feeling the effect of the regicide inflation. Unlocking one adept archetype is already expensive as is, but if you wanna unlock it for the entire squad, then you need to quadruple that price. And this doesn't even factor in the Magla you need to use for skill inheritance. So yeah, until I can find a more effective way to farm Magla, I will need to be very careful with how I use my Mag. After exploring for a bit, I found another poneglyph, and then I reached the end of the tomb to fight my bounty. This is the Fatal Lich, a monster who has a name that kinda sounds like a slur. Attacking this boss right away is kinda pointless because he will always start the fight by summoning a Kaimenza that will fully heal him. These two are pretty tough to deal with, mostly because I came to this dungeon while the weather is bad. Not being able to generate extra actions is pretty annoying, but it's not that big of a deal because I have the perfect accessory for this kind of situations. The Stormy Sea Ring. As some of you might have guessed, the real ability of this item is that it turns any physical attack into a critical hit during inclement weather. And now that Stroll has a decent amount of strength, he can finally combine that ring with a very special synthesis skill.
You will taste justice!
This is Peerless Stone Cleaver, but personally, I prefer calling this attack Peerless Troll Cleaver. This skill requires 3 characters, so in order to use it, you need to sacrifice 3 turn icons. Giving up on 3 press turns is a pretty big deal, but it's 100% worth it, because in terms of power, Peerless Troll Cleaver is one of, if not the strongest synthesis skill in the entire game. The bad weather penalty made this encounter trickier, but with the support of Faker's Gamblery, Hulkenberg gave us enough press turn icons to let Stroll do what he does best, slashing his enemies to bits. After grabbing the Chalice of Legends, I decided to stay in this dungeon for a more nefarious reason. The reason why I wanted to explore this dungeon so badly is because this is the first dungeon where you can find these mimics roaming around. The Pirate Imitek drops a hero Leaf of Light upon defeat, but here is the thing. If you kill this mimic, it will permanently disappear, so you won't be able to make it respawn. Normally, this prevents you from farming those guys, but there is a loophole that I can abuse to achieve just that. The hero's Leaf of Light is the common drop of the Pirate Imitek. This is very convenient because it means that I can use Pickpocket to get a 50% chance to steal a leaf every time I stun a mimic. And because I'm at level 1, I deal no damage to the mimic, so I don't have to worry about killing it. Thanks to this degenerate grinding strategy, I was able to get a ton of hero leaves, and that allowed our squad to master more archetypes. Oh, by the way, I would like to share with you a cool tech regarding those elemental balls. So in this game, your weapon will change based on the archetype you are using. Most weapons have a melee moveset, but some of them can be used to attack from a distance, like the crossbows from the gunner lineage. Fighting these little balls with a melee weapon is really annoying because you have to chase them constantly. However, with the gunner, if you stand far enough, it's actually possible to hit them without triggering their flight response, and that makes stunning those guys a lot easier. Oh right, before I forget,
Magla, give me your magla. Magla.
Also, while taking care of some quests, I found this dude who was looking for a toothbrush. Yeah, so I went to the nearby village to buy that toothbrush, and this is what he had to say after I told him that tooth monsters are actually real.
You're a stand-up fellow, but not a great comedian. Though, I see. It's a metaphor.
No, straight! This could be our chance. Let's take them all out!
Well done, Captain. To battle.
Alright, everything is in order, so we can proceed with the mission. Wait. It's currently raining in Brilhaven. Interesting. In any case, the time has finally come to infiltrate the Skyrunner Caradrius. The Caradrius is a pretty unique dungeon to explore because of the stealth segments. In this dungeon, there are a couple of sections with a top-down camera angle where you sneak around and knock out all the guards. I find these segments really cool. They remind me of another series whose name I can't seem to recall for some reason. After knocking out all the guards, I regrouped with my comrades, and then we challenge our first enemy. This is Sergeant Zant. In normal circumstances, beating him should be fairly simple, but you see, there is one condition that turns this straightforward encounter into a difficult puzzle to solve: the turn limit. Every battle in the Caradrius needs to be won in 3 turns or less. And there is no leeway here. If you take too long, your fantasy will die, so you absolutely need to finish this fight as fast as possible. It's really unfortunate that we must go through him first, because this guy was designed to be tanky. Sergeant Zang has 4k HP, so he can actually take a beating. And if that wasn't bad enough, this boss has no weakness. At first I tried the ever so reliable item throw strategy, but yeah, that didn't work. With my 200 damage dealing items, the math simply doesn't add up. If everyone was able to throw the 400 damage dealing items all the time, then we would have enough firepower to win the fight, but here's the thing. Zand hits really hard. So hard in fact, that he is pretty much knocking out at least one person every time he attacks, and under these conditions, it's really difficult to focus on offense. At first I didn't know how I should approach this fight, until I remembered something. While Zand isn't weak to any of the 9 elements, he does have weaknesses. This guy is weak to a ton of ailments. This is pretty convenient because I have the perfect tool to abuse that: Faker's Gamblery. One thing that I didn't tell you about this move is that it has the chance to inflict Forget. Forget in particular is really useful in this fight because it prevents Zand from playing the game, thus giving you ample time to deal damage. So thanks to the Gamblery, a piece of the puzzle has been solved. Now we need to figure out the other half, dealing a ton of damage in a short amount of time. After considering all my options, I decided to put my faith in Peerless Troll Cleaver. This move definitely has the potential to end the fight quickly, but in order to do that, I need to crit. And regrettably, the tools I have access to at the moment are simply not enough to guarantee a critical hit. Or are they? You see, if I was playing normally, then I would be forced to roll the dice for those crits, yes. However, thanks to my keen sense of observation, I was able to spot something. And that something completely changed the way I approached this fight. Do you recall how it was raining before I entered inside the dungeon? So the reason why this caught me by surprise is because of this pink symbol over here. That's the symbol of inclement weather. I was under the impression that the bad weather mechanic was only a thing for optional dungeons, but no! Main story dungeons can be affected by it. I didn't think much of this at first, until I noticed something else. Right now, all the guards inside the Caradrius have the purple aura effect. All the guards except Zand. This got me thinking, if the inclement weather effect is truly active, then what would happen if I were to use an accessory which only functions during inclement weather? So to find the answer, I equipped the Stormy Sea Ring, started a battle with a grunt, and then once my turn came around, I discovered something huge.
The blade's edge! I could have done it! My turn now!
As you can see here, I got a guaranteed crit, and the said crit did not grant me a turn icon bonus. This is typical bad weather behavior, so it is to be expected. However, check out what happens when I use the Stormy Sea Ring against Zant.
Hot!
Nice hit! That was perfect!
As you just saw, in this scenario, I still got a guaranteed crit. However, unlike what happened in the other example, this time I did get a turn icon bonus. Unlike optional boss fights where you get a turn icon penalty, when you face a story boss during a bad weather, you get no turn icon penalty whatsoever. And what this means is that I can abuse the effect of the Stormy Sea Ring without any downside. As soon as I realized this, I immediately switched to a full warrior squad. Doing this allows Troll to benefit from Heat Up. This passive increases physical skill attack, and when you have 4 archetypes of the same lineage, the boost it grants goes from 10% to 30%. This is also convenient because Peerless Troll Cleaver is one of the only synthesis skills in the game that can be used with 3 archetypes of the same lineage. So now that all the pieces of the puzzle are in place, it's time to show you the strat. As soon as Hulkenberg gets to act, she goes for Faker's Gamblery. This applies Forget, so it prevents Zant from playing the game. Thanks to the extra actions, we can focus on buffing Stroll's attack and also debuffing the defense of the boss, while Stroll deals some cheap damage with the help of his guaranteed crits. And then, on turn 2, I can let Stroll do his thing.
Let's get on with it!
You can do this!
You will taste justice! Not bad!
Right after Zant, you will notice that the path diverges. There are 2 corridors that we can explore, and each corridor will lead you to a unique boss fight. You only need to complete one of these to progress, but for the sake of the challenge, I'm going to finish both. Our first foe resides in the Starboard Corridor. It's Maintenance Chief Siba. Siba is pretty interesting because he only has 1 press turn icon and is weak to all the physical elements. If that sounds too good to be true, well, that's because it is. The catch is that he always gets the first turn and he always spams Mage Wall, a spell that allows him to repel all physical elements back at you. Repelling an attack completely ends the turn, meaning that so long as the shield will be up, you won't be able to use physical attacks. So basically, you have 2 ways to approach this fight. You can disregard the shield, or you can try to break through it. Personally, I decided to break through the shield with my warrior squad. There is an item called the Matter Break Hammer that can dispel an enemy's Tetrakarn effect. Since Siba doesn't attack at all, I can apply buffs and debuffs freely. Then, when the time is right, I use the Matter Break Hammer to remove his Mage Wall, and then I let Stroll do his thing. Some of you might be wondering why Stroll is still using the warrior even though he has access to the Swordmaster. Well, the answer is fairly simple, you see. It's because it's Magla. Yeah, dude, it's Magla. It's always about the Magla. The warrior naturally gets access to 2 amazing passives, Heat Up and Slash Boost, a passive that increases slash damage by 20%. These 2 passives are not present in the moveset of the Swordmaster, so if you want to have them on this archetype, you need to inherit them. Inheriting Heat Up isn't too bad, since it only costs 6k. Slash Boost, however... Nope, I am not spending 20k mag for 1 skill. So in this particular scenario, going with the Swordmaster would result in dealing less damage. But if I go with the Warrior instead, then I get this.
We'll combine our strength!
This is it! Has my age caught up to me?
Our next foe is the Warden of the Port Corridor, Master Sergeant Glickholm. The main thing that you need to know about him is that he's drunk, hyped, and ready to rumble. Much like Siba, Glecom always acts first, and this is pretty bad because...
Get back on track.
His ear-splitting shriek can give you daze, a status that greatly reduces your hit rate. Accuracy issues aside, what's really annoying about this move is the fact that it can inflict an ailment. Synthesis skills can't be used if even one of the required party members has a bad status effect. He also has an AoE attack called Punishing Blow that deals a lot of One thing that's interesting about Glecom is that he becomes more predictable when he's drunk. This guy always does the same thing every turn, shouting and blowing. With that in mind, I can swap to a full brawler squad to reduce the damage of his blows, and then I can start throwing items. Since items can't miss, I can completely disregard the day's status. And after making Glecom drink 6 lava crystals and 1 flamma bottle, I gave him a hangover that he couldn't recover from.
From our provisions.
There you go, whelps. Felt that one.
And now we can move to the final fight of this segment. A fight that should be...
Military discipline is absolute.
Right he is. Now brace yourself, you amateur. Wipes you out!
Yes, so about that fight. This time we gotta deal with not one, but 2 enemies. Helmsman Cabio and Guard Chief Salva. These 2 always get the first turn, and that's a big problem because Salva has Mage Almighty, aka Megiddola. Wow, the battle has barely started and is already hitting me with a good strategy. Unfortunately, Megiddola. Also, Cabio is really good at landing crits for some reason. The fact that these 2 get to play the game before we do is so vicious because it completely changes the dynamic of this fight. Instead of focusing on your strategy, you have to find a way to recover from a bad start. And when you are up against enemies who hit as hard as they do, keeping your squad alive becomes quite the ordeal. Since this situation felt very similar to the Demon Baby incident, I figured that using the Knight archetype could also work here. So to capitalize on the fact that Salva has a Pierce weakness, I went with a squad of 3 Knights and 1 Brawler. The idea behind this formation is to put 1 Brawler in there to allow my Knights to use their synthesis skills. In practice, that did not work out. While the Knight is great at defense, its offense leaves a lot to be desired. Because some characters had to go in the front row to attack, I couldn't keep everyone in the back row, meaning that I couldn't trigger Bardon's protective formation to decrease the insane amount of damage we were taking. I was seriously contemplating leaving the Caradrius to go prepare, but then I remembered something. Cabio is weak to Elec. That's when I realized, wait a minute, what am I doing? I can just throw items from the back row. So after my brain cells started working properly, I swapped everyone to the Knight archetype to execute one of my favorite strategies, the Fourth Knight. By stacking Ironclad Bond, Guard Law, the defense bonus from the back row, and Bardon's protective formation, we were finally able to survive the attack that used to decimate our party. Going with 4 Knights also made Cabio less scary because of our innate resistance to slash. With survival achieved, the next step became quite clear. I threw Thunderstones at Cabio to hit his weakness, and then I used the extra actions I generated to hit Salva with lava crystals. Since items deal fixed damage, they aren't affected by your formation. This makes throwing items from the back row really effective because it allows me to deal damage while ensuring that Bardon's protective formation is always active. Thanks to this strat, I was able to get rid of Salva on turn 2, and when turn 3 came around, Cabio also went down.
Opening, Captain.
Just the thing.
Can't take much more.
My dream. Count Louis trusted us to handle things in his absence. How could we fail him like this?
By the way, just so you know, I don't plan to keep abusing Faker's Gamblery for future main story boss fights. Don't get me wrong, the skill is really good, but see, that's precisely the issue. Faker's Gamblery promotes what I consider to be a degenerate playstyle that reduces the quality of your strategies.
can't stop winning.
And that's on Regicide difficulty where the clock is disabled. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, on any difficulty other than Regicide, you get this feature that lets you rewind the clock back to the start of the battle. It essentially lets you retry the battle without needing to go through the fantasy is dead screen. So when you pair that feature with Faker's Gamblery, what you get is absolute peak degeneracy. You can literally fake it until you make it. So yeah, while I don't mind using it against Elementals or side dungeon bosses, I will refrain from using Faker's Gamblery during important boss fights to keep things more interesting. Our job here is done, but before we leave, there are some things that I want to show you. While exploring the port corridor, I found an item called the Weighted Mail. Purifying this piece of equipment turns it into the Bronze Breastplate, a fantastic armor part that increases max HP by 30%. Much like weapons, the type of armor you can equip will depend on the archetype you have channeled. So while I won't be able to use the Bronze Breastplate with every archetype, I will still be able to get some good mileage out of it whenever I use archetypes of the Warrior or Knight lineage. Also, while exploring the starboard corridor, I found an item called Matador Shoes. I got to rank 6 with Brigitte. I also made sure to rank up with Alonso, and then I dedicated the rest of my time to Stroll. Getting to rank 7 with him gave me access to my first elite archetype, the Samurai. And shortly after, I managed to max out his rank. This unlocked a couple of new abilities, including one called Grand Fantasy. This ability allows Stroll to acquire a new heroic embodiment. In due time, you will understand what that means. And eventually, the day of the soirée came around. A soirée organized by none other than Count Louis Guyaburn.
Count Louis will be king.
Okay, everyone is busy, so it's time to sneak out.
Hey, new boy. Slow down. Wouldn't be wise to...
Well, look who it is. The only blowhard who showed up to the competition with a head smaller than his own.
You little red-eyed! You want to say that again?
Yeah, that's right. Eat shit, Glodell. Okay, I have made it to the Caradrius, so all that remains is going through the Tony Hawk Pro Skater segment. Yeah, I'm not kidding. There is a Tony Hawk Pro Skater segment in this game. Metaphor ReFantazio, everybody. My game of the year.
No, no, no!
Okay, so you are supposed to use the areas wider than normal as scaffold. You know what? I'm sick of this. Time to lock in.
Sweet!
This was harder than I expected, but we've managed to access Reese's quarters, and what's more, we also found the map we were looking for. Ah, the One Piece will soon be in my grasp.
What are you doing here?
Uh-oh.
So, remember how I said I'd keep my eyes on you? Well, I have to say, I like what I see.
You know, I wouldn't mind if you give my lips a thorough examination.
What?
What?
Well, well. The occupant's absent, but the door's locked.
Oh my god, of all people! Of course it had to be this loser. Alright everyone, it's time to deal with Glodell for good. Wait, I can't even do anything.
Spectacular! A fitting end for a pack of rats. Get them, Hector!
Rand. Oh my god, he deals 161?
Isn't there anything we can do?
Dude! That is so much damage.
I'm sorry.
Wait, you can die. You can fail this. I never knew you could fail this. What? Okay, we have a problem. So this is the part where we take on Glodell and Hector all at once. However, before you get to do that, you have to survive the 1v1 against the doggo. This is a short fight that only lasts 2 turns, however, the catch is that you are not allowed to play the game because Glodell is holding Juna hostage. So what that means is that you need to survive 2 consecutive attacks from Hector. I thought that the extra HP I got from all that cleaning would be enough, but I was mistaken. The fact that I can't even guard is pretty annoying, but the real issue with this fight is that Hector kinda cheats. You see, the attack Hector uses is called Rend. Slaughter! Devour your enemies! This move deals medium slash damage, so by equipping an archetype with a slash resistance, you can easily reduce its damage. However, in this 1v1 against Hector specifically, Rend gets replaced with another attack which has the exact same name, but that attack deals almighty damage instead of slash. This one sneaky tweak changes everything, and it's at that point that I realized that the man I had been making fun of this entire time was about to kill the entire run. This was something that I could not allow, so I started considering my options. And it was at that moment that I was reminded of a quote from the ravenous she-beast Hulkenberg. When they pull out the Almighty, put the Knight in your party. Every time I had to deal with powerful Almighty attacks, this Knight in shining armor always came to my rescue. So once again, I decided to put the fate of the run on the shoulders of the stoic Bulwark. In addition to channeling the Knight archetype, I made sure that each piece of gear I equipped would give me an endurance boost, from the weapon all the way to the accessory. Also, going with the Knight allowed me to equip the Bronze Breastplate to increase my max HP by 30%, as well as getting a +5 endurance boost. And now, the time has come to see if all this prep will be enough to keep my fantasy alive.
We're not careful about this. Juna might...
Spectacular! A fitting end for a pack of rats. Get them, Hector!
No. Isn't there anything we can do? Captain's hurt.
Fortunately, the prep paid off, so now we can move to the second fight.
Very well, O lodestar who wanders in sorrow. O thou anguished traveler who hath borne the weight of parting from the start. Awaken!
Look at me! What you see now is my commitment to my song!
How does she have the same power? She's just a damned singer!
I have sung 1,000 songs. I've known their power my whole life! Whereas all you've ever been is a lackey. My music is lost on you. Listen and learn!
Do it! Chew them up! Tear them limb from bloody limb!
Regarding this battle, I have good news and bad news. The good news is that Juna joins you for this one, so this is going to be a 2v2. The bad news is that Juna joins you for this one. I am really happy that she got her archetype awakening and all, but that doesn't change the fact that she is stuck at level 1 with piss poor stats. Poor girl cannot take a hit, and wouldn't you know it, as soon as that thought crossed my mind, she got pulverized by Hector. Reviving her felt pointless, so I decided to keep pushing all by myself. This made the fight a lot harder, but I knew that victory was still within reach.
I'm sorry, everyone.
Ah, Regicide, how exciting. As embarrassing as it was to lose to this guy, I have to say that these losses taught me something really valuable. You see, Glodell is more of a Pokemon trainer than a fighter. What I mean by that is that he prefers using X items to buff his Houndoom rather than attacking you directly. This effectively turns the fight into a 2v1. So the real issue here is finding a way to keep Juna alive. And luckily for us, the Knight just so happens to be very good at this. After hitting a weakness, I can just click Knight's Proclamation with my extra action to redirect every attack towards myself. Another thing to keep in mind for this fight is that you only need to defeat Glodel in order to win. That's why I decided to completely ignore Hector to target his master. The strategy proved to be solid, and after 6 minutes of beating the shite out of him, Glodel went down.
I'll go with this.
Help me! Damn you! What's going on? Why? What's happened? I can't breathe.
Eat shit, Glodel.
What the hell?
Right, come to think of it, I haven't introduced you to these two yet. This is Basilio, and this is Fidelio. They are the Magnus brothers, the elite guard of Count Louis Guillaburn. These two are easily some of the best characters in the entire game. I would love to tell you more about them, but right now we have a bit of a situation, and understandably, they are very suspicious of us.
Your throat all better then, Lady Juna?
Yes, much better. He gave me such a thorough examination after all. He took good care of my throat, my tongue, my lips.
Yeah, guys, this is all a big misunderstanding. There is nothing to worry about. Oh.
What's the matter, love? Is everything all right? They're disgusted.
I received a report a short while ago. They say your face has emerged on the King's Rock.
This is really random, but I love the way he says rock in this scene.
Rock.
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 Rock. Juna has officially become our 5th party member, and that's great. I don't plan to use her. Look, I really like Juna, but in this run, late-game party members are too much of a time sink. Juna doesn't have any archetype unlocked outside of her own, so it would take a lot of resources for her to catch up with everyone else. What, did you really think that I was going to spend all that mag on her? In this magla economy? Not happening. By the way, while I was inside Luis's room, I managed to snatch an interesting book. That book is written in a mystic script that I can't read, but luckily for us, a certain scholar can help with that. This is Rella. She is Juna's sister, and she's also among my favorite characters in this game. According to her, the mystic script mentions the presence of an amazing treasure hidden deep within the island of Verga. A treasure that could very well be the One Piece. This is very convenient because Lord Louis Guillaburn has ordered us to go to that very island. In order to reach that location, we have to cross the sea. Normally, this would be an impossible task for your regular land runner, but the crafty Nuras managed to turn our vehicle into a proper sea runner. And this, my friend, is why Nuras is the GOAT.
Really? Don't tell me you're making the trip in that.
Oh, right. I forgot we have to travel with these two. This is gonna be quite the bumpy ride.